surgery center. Jean had a pretty rough night. She had a pretty rough night. The doctor just came in, and not the surgeon that worked on him yesterday, but the one, he's in surgery right now. They took him back and did an exam, and she did a quick ultrasound just to see if there was anything going on, just because he's not, I mean, he's older, so we knew recovery was going to be tough, but he's just not in great shape. He just wasn't standing. He won't eat, he won't drink. It was hard to get him any medication without any of, him doing that. So anyway, she said that, with all of those organs being in the wrong spot for so long, moving them and putting them in the right spot can also cause complications. But she didn't see fluid in the abdomen, and that was a big deal. She said if we do see that, potential surgery again, which she doesn't think is going to happen, but they tested, they were looking for it. There was, it was just a lot that they did yesterday. So it's not unusual that he would be this down and out. However, I'm not willing, to keep him at home and just kind of monitor when he needs more supportive care than what I'm comfortable than doing. So they're going to keep him here today. I'm sorry, buddy. She said his blood pressure was good. If it was low, that would indicate that he was in pain and not handling it well, but his blood pressure is good. So they're going to do intravenous fluids for him. They're going to do more blood work, see where everything's at. They're going to pull his urine to make sure to see how concentrated it is, because moving the bladder was fully in that hernia in his little behind. Putting it back where it needs to be, like she said, could cause complications if it flipped or pinched, or they just want to make sure that it's in what they're seeing is indicative of a dehydrated dog. So because he is dehydrated, and they just want to make sure that reflects, like his urine reflects a dehydrated dog. So they'll do supportive care here, which will be the intravenous fluids. She'll get him hydrated, and then she's going to do the ultrasound again later towards the end of the day to see if there is fluid in his abdomen. She doesn't think there will be, but because he's dehydrated right now, maybe his body's just not pulling it. So those are big deals. And check his blood work. And then by, 3, she said about 3 o'clock today, they'll give us a call and we'll decide if we should hospitalize overnight, because they don't do overnight here at the surgery center. We would have to take him to another emergency clinic to continue supportive care if that's what's needed. So they're putting an estimate together right now. So I'm going to leave the fundraiser. I don't have like an actual fundraiser donor box going, but I'm going to leave that up if anybody wants to. Everybody's just supported him so much. It just takes a village. I don't know what today's cost is going to be, but he needs it. So I'll have to figure it out. I'm sorry, buddy. Poor little guy. So we will keep our fingers crossed that this was just a fuck ton on his little body, and that this is going to be okay. He just needs a little bit more TLC. I'm sorry, I know it's cold in here. So that's where we're at. I couldn't get him up this morning. When he got home last night, he was just, laid out, and we figured because of the anesthesia and everything else that is going on, that he would be like that. That was normal. But when I got up in the middle of the night to check on him, didn't have any interest in really waking up, and then got up at 5 o'clock this morning to get him up, and he just kind of laid there and looked at me and wouldn't move. So I picked him up and walked outside and stood him up, and he stood there and just kind of wobbled for a minute and walked over to my leg like he just wanted to hide. So I picked him back up, and he just laid back down, and not being able to get him to eat or drink is tough. If we had to do those things from home, would we figure it out? Probably. But because of his age and because of the amount of things that could go sideways, even, infection and all kinds of stuff, it just isn't an option right now to keep a dog like this, just in a little quarantine and just check on him. He has to get that stuff in him. And plus, because we didn't have that conversation when I left yesterday of potential complications. So I wasn't really, and I didn't ask. I usually ask like what could go wrong. I didn't ask. I just wasn't really thinking to ask what those might look like. So I'm just glad we're back down here today. Make sure that we get things where they need to be. We just took a guess and said maybe 12. His teeth are really, really bad. But before surgery, even with his situation, he moved around pretty well. But he's a older dog that has not had any kind of health maintenance or I can't reach my phone. I'm trying not to move them. Yeah, he'll have, once we get through this, he'll have plenty of good time left. But because he just hasn't had any good health, up until now, just makes everything else that much more difficult. Lisa, I'm in a big matching mood. Lisa, you're so great.
Sorry, I took a bit of time.
That's okay.
Do you want me to hold off for a sec?
No, I'll shut this up. Okay, guys, we'll be back in a minute.